Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Veltima Fungicide. Proven number one for the toughest corn diseases with long-lasting residual when you need to be confident your fungicide will perform. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg reporting. Under clear skies, I've got 55 degrees on the barn thermometer. Yesterday turned out to be a breezy day, but beautiful outside. Today looks like more of the same. A couple quick programming notes and calendar reminders. Tune in during midday today. I'll be traveling to Van Wert County for the Ohio Field Leader Roadshow. We'll be at the farm of Mike and Kendra Heffelfinger. We'll talk about what the planting season's been like in Van Wert County and also the work of the Ohio Soybean Council. The Ohio Field Leader Roadshow is a project of the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Then coming up on Monday, powered by Soy Biodiesel, I'll be traveling down to the Pinnacle Golf Club for the Ohio Farm Bureau Foundation's golf outing. We'll be there helping to raise funds for the foundation scholarships, grants, and programs that help enhance agricultural communities and support careers in agriculture. Taking a look at what's making agricultural headlines at OhioAgNet.com, the latest issue of the Ohio Field Leader podcast is out. Now, in this episode of the podcast, I visit with Dr. Taylor Dill, who's Director of Research with the Ohio Soybean Council, and we're joined by Dr. Alyssa Essman, Assistant Professor and Weed Science Extension Specialist at The Ohio State University. We'll be discussing the unique weather variables that we've seen this year, and based on where you may be located, the impact that's had on weed management strategies. Dr. Essman also shares some management strategies to consider as we go into the summer months. Now, we also take some time to discuss the new labeling requirements as herbicides are registered and re-registered by the EPA as they fall in line with the Endangered Species Act and what the implications are for private and custom applicators. You can listen to this podcast as well as get the latest in ag news, weather, and markets online at OhioAgNet.com. And a reminder, today's news feed was delivered to you by Eberts Field Seeds, delivering proven local seed performance to Ohio farmers. It's time to start planting Eberts. Call us at 937-473-2521 or visit us online at ebertseeds.com. That's EBBERTS seeds.com. Well, let's take a look now at your Friday morning and through the weekend weather forecast. This weather forecast update brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. You can learn more online at seedconsultants.com.
Sunny and pleasant to finish the week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick forecast update here for Ohio. Nothing going on today. Not much going on tomorrow. I do think we have to probably keep an eye to the sky for a renegade scattered shower or two tomorrow, especially central and southern parts of the state. That's going to be an offshoot of a disturbance that's going to be trying to move through the Great Lakes region for your Saturday. But really not much happening down here. Sunday we start with good sunshine and then clouds will build. A monster storm system coming out of the Central Plains, moving across the central to western Corn Belt as we move through Sunday, and that's going to take and move right into our neck of the woods overnight Sunday night through Monday. Right now, penciling in anywhere from 1/2 to 2 inches of rain. Some strong to severe thunderstorm action is possible in the northern half to northern third of the state. Behind that, we're dry for a couple of days. More rain late week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Well, let's check in now with Joe Everett as he has an update on a veteran award program set up by Farm Bureau.
The American Farm Bureau is now accepting applications for its 2027 Veteran Farmer Award of Excellence. The award, supported by Farm Credit, recognizes military veterans and active duty service members who have demonstrated excellence in agriculture while making a positive impact in their communities. The winner will receive a $10,000 cash prize along with travel expenses to attend the Farm Bureau's convention in Charlotte, North Carolina next January. The American Farm Bureau Federation President Zippy Duvall says, "We're proud to shine a spotlight on veterans for their service to our nation and their meaningful contributions to agriculture and their communities." Last year's recipient was retired Army Command Sergeant Major Matthew Rudder of South Carolina. After serving 22 years in the military, Rudder helped launch programs that train veterans for careers in agriculture and assist with the transition to civilian life. Applications are due by September 1st, and the winner will be announced publicly on Veterans Day. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett reporting.
And thanks, Joe. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more when the Ohio AgNet continues after this.
Ohio farmers, we know summer means long days in the field and plenty of work still to do. And the Ohio AgNet wants to bring lunch to your farm. The Feeding Farmers contest is back this summer, and we'll be choosing farms across Ohio for a visit from the Ohio AgNet, along with free lunch for your farm, family, and crew. Get entered today at ohioagnet.com/feedingfarmers. Feeding Farmers is brought to you by Ag Revolution, Paradise Energy Solutions, Tempty, and the Ohio AgNet.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. Let's catch up now with Joel Panorwood as he takes a look at on-farm safety.
We're continuing our conversation with Dr. Dee Jepson. She's a professor of agricultural safety and health at the Ohio State University. And as we talk about ag safety at this very important time of year when, by the way, as temperatures increase in Ohio, so do accidents on the farm. And specifically around tractors, growing up, all that we heard about was stay away from the PTO shaft. The PTO is really going to hurt you out there. And while still something to be keeping in mind, change a little bit when we look at statistics.
I love that you brought that up. And on the statistics right now in today's current world, 2% of the fatalities are contributed to PTO. Now, what you're remembering and what some of our other generations will remember is 11%, 20%. We are continuing to drop in percentages for fatalities with PTOs. And when you think about why, I bet it's those engineering guards that they're putting on these tractors that the manufacturers are putting on because they know that they can save lives. And they are. They're starting to show up in our statistics. So that is one of the true success stories of having some engineering controls in place that we don't tamper with that. We don't try to, outsmart the safety device, and we'll leave that in place. And please, always respect those safety devices because they are there to save our fingers, save our lives.
What a great success story there. There's always, of course, improvement to be done, but my goodness, that is quite a drop in a statistic. I would also like to ask about, you have one over here that it is a notably high number as we're looking at this graph of how fatalities are broken down. Runover, what does that entail, and how can we prevent that?
So runovers are just that, where a tractor or a piece of machinery has either backed over someone or a person has fallen off the machinery and then gets run over by the equipment. When you think about who comes out to our fields and our farms, our children want to come out. Maybe you have people that are bringing you food and they don't know where to park or what to do, and they seem like they're always in the way, right? So if we have these designated spots, or when equipment is moving, that we don't approach equipment until it completely shuts down, or that driver has acknowledged that he or she in the operator's seat sees the person on the ground. Children, we had a fatality just last fall out with the combine, and that one was so tragic because that young life, 5 years old, she didn't know the last time we saw her, she was in the seat of the tractor or the combine. And now all of a sudden, grain buggies are being moved around, field equipment is being moved around, and they can't find the daughter. And she did not survive her injuries. And so I don't bring that up as hard, but these are statistics that, we continually see, and you think, well, nobody will get run over. Well, when you see that 18% of our fatalities in Ohio, these are Ohio farmers, are contributed to tractor runovers. So let's slow down when we come in and out of the driveways, be cognizant of who might be in our surroundings as well. We do a fun game at day camps where we will put a farm operator, an adult, up in the operator's seat. And then we will take 10 kids and say, go touch a piece of this tractor. You have to have your hand on it. And go find a spot. Now we'll put a baler, we'll put a disc, we'll put a piece of implement with that tractor. And so then we tell the farmer, okay, open your eyes and count how many kids you can see from where you're sitting. And of course, you can't see the ones that are right there at your reel well, which is kind of right where the steps are. And you can't see the ones right immediately in front of you. And sometimes, in certain spots right behind you. And so this is a two-way message for the kids. They can't see you. You need to make eye contact with that operator till they tell you it's safe to come. And then for the adult, it's like, kids are everywhere, or maybe spouses that are bringing you meals, or your parents that are checking on you in the fields. Like, keep an eye on, out for pedestrians. When you see a vehicle pull up, know that there's probably people that have come out to see you.
Dr. Dee Jepson joining us here today. She's professor of agricultural safety and health at The Ohio State University, and this is the Ohio AgNet.
Thanks, Joel. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
This is Gary Puckett, Director of Communications and Industry Engagement for the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association, and this is the Ohio AgNet.
And thanks, Gary. Let's catch up now with Ty Higgins as he takes a look at the SEED Act.
The Strengthening Economic and Energy Development Act, otherwise known as the SEED Act, aims to reinstate a $1 per gallon biodiesel tax credit to support the biofuel sector and help lower diesel prices. The SEED Act would also extend the Section 40A biodiesel tax credit, which expired in 2024, through 2029. Gary Hogeveen is Executive Vice President of Pilot Company. He talks about how quickly fleets, families, and farmers might feel the impact in prices at the pump should the SEED Act be passed.
We believe in our calculations that across the country, nearly $2 billion of higher diesel prices have been in effect per year since the expiration of this policy in 2024. So right there, you can do the math. $2 billion is a lot of money. And we believe that the comparison of the current tax policy to the old tax policy that we're trying to get back, i.e. the 40A tax policy, the vast majority of the tax credit in 40A gets passed along ultimately directly to consumers because of the way that the policy works. It happens closer to the consumer than the current policy, which isn't working as well, which is applied closer to the producer. So the net effect all the way to the families of Ohio is much better in 40A than it is in the current tax policy.
You can watch our entire conversation at Ohio AgNet TV on YouTube and at ohioagnet.com. I'm Ty Higgins reporting.
Thanks, Ty. Taking a look at your livestock news, yesterday the USDA released their June 1 cattle on feed report. Now, if you just want the cliff notes, cattle on feed were up 2% from a year ago. Placements were down 10%. Cattle and calves on feed for the slaughter market in the United States for feedlots with a capacity of 1,000 head or more totaled 11.7 million head on June 1st. The inventory was 2% above what it was a year ago, according to the USDA's National Ag Statistics Service. Placements in feedlots during May totaled 1.7 million head, 10% below 2025, and net placements were at 1.65 million head. Now, during May, placements of cattle and calves weighing less than 600 pounds were 320,000 head. The 600 to 699 pounders were at 240,000 head. 7 to 799 pounds were at 400,000 head, while the 800 to 899 pounders were at 444,000 head. The 900 to 999 pound animals were at 225,000 head, and the 1,000 pounds or greater were at 75,000 head. So marketings of fed cattle during May totaled 1.55 million head. That's 12% below where they were a year ago, and marketings were the second lowest for May since the series began back in 1996. Let's take a look at what's impacting the grain markets. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113.
Grain markets finishing lower on your Thursday, and I can guarantee you this, markets cannot lose more today. That's because markets are closed today in observance of the Juneteenth holiday. So yesterday was the last trade for the week. I think that was part of the problem yesterday. Risk coming off the table ahead of a 3-day weekend. And remember, we are closer and closer now to the big seedings report that comes out June 30th and a stocks report as well. Yesterday, the market was abuzz about weather. The summer climate forecast came out of NOAA, and it's non-threatening. The seasonal trends held ahead of the long weekend. Corn, bean, and wheat futures were lower, mostly on speculative selling due to the drop in spot crude oil prices. Crude was down $1.50 to $2, trading below $74 for a time yesterday. We also had a fresh lack of Chinese demand there on Dragon Boat holiday. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look now at how your markets closed yesterday. Now, a note, the markets are closed today in observance of the Juneteenth holiday. They will reopen, though, coming up on Sunday evening for overnight trade. But at the close, July corn was down 3.5 cents at $4.17 1/2. July soybeans were down 9 1/4 at $11.22 3/4. And wheat for July down 7, $6.05 3/4. Thanks for joining us and have a great day. You're listening to the Ohio AgNet.